deckbuilder.com here with the second pool. Now this is what I was having difficult on the simulators. So this is another 6 packs we opened, and it is just all over the place, and this is literally the best we could come up with. There's definitely some cool synergies. This is the deck that Zach built out of his 6 packs. And I don't know, explain the packs, Zach, what you get from them.
A lot of what we got here is some of the other colors that we did get. There's just not much in black that we can really go off of.
And we got that bomb of a bomb card of the Banshee, but it's just, we do have like the Golgari Rot Farm and some Rampant Growths, but just not enough black to justify it in my opinion. And same thing, white was just all over the place. But here, take out the grasp. Back one more. So there's a grasp. All right, we'll show you this. This is what we were talking about earlier with the amount of hate that's just lying around. I think there's also a green card that, but his pool, you know, there's double smash to smithereens, and a recall as well as a grasp. Sundering Vine in the pool, just tons and tons of artifact hate. And so I think that they really were worried about some decks being too consistent with artifacts. I mean, again, the amount of artifacts in this pool were quite substantial when we were looking at the colors. But this is the best we can think. I mean, we've got a Lightning Bolt and a Burst Lightning, and then like a Spite Bellows, Goblin Fire Springer, Stormbird Berserker. So there's some good things going in the Bloodthirst, but not enough. We got 0 Bloodthirst out of the black cards there. We got some sacrifice stuff out of black, but nothing to really sacrifice. And so I think with this one, we just want to make a red blue tempo deck. There's a lot of filler cards we had to use, like Cloud Elemental, Cathodian just for a 3/3 for 3. The Fairy Mechanist just for a 2/2 for 4 for flying. And then if we do happen to find an artifact, which is a few in our deck, then yay. I mean, we hit, but that's not going to happen very often. And we're actually even using the Sickle Slicer just for a creature, a 2/2 creature for 3 that has the ability to equip onto something later. Now the shining thing about this is we do have the Hobgoblin Double Strike 2/2 with enough ways to pump it up through the Goblin Warpaints. By the way, we did get a Daybreak Cornet in this pool. So whoa, we actually got a pool where it would be possible to put a Daybreak Cornet on, but 2 cards, you cannot justify running two enchantment art decks to try to put a Daybreak Cornet on something. So yeah, and this guy, we're really just using this again for a 2/1 for 2. Again, the cool thing about this deck, we did get the Vendilion Clique, which is going to be a nice tempo card, flash 3/1. And then a Swans, and the Swans actually has some cool combos in this deck through Spite. You can actually Spite Bellows your own Swans to draw 5 cards. Or a Burst Lightning could end up drawing you 4 cards, or a Lightning Bolt could end up drawing you 3 cards. We're splashing subtly, splashing black for Dimir Aqueduct and the 2 Evolving Wilds. And then because Nameless Inversion is just that good of a card, as well as Wrecking Ball. So here it's just showing me that draft might be pretty decent. We had a whole pile of cool graft and proliferate strategies. So like the lower scale Coddle can actually get some cool proliferate, or an Instill Infection. I could actually see us putting in this an Instill Infection in this pool as well. And a Culling Dais and Sphere of the Sun. This, people forget about proliferating this, you can keep this around. We had some affinity cards. And cool thing about Etched Oracle, even if you only spend it for 2 or 3, Proliferate allows it to get up to 4/4, and then removing 4 counters from, it says actually, yeah, 4 counters from Etched Oracle. Target player draws 3 cards. In a graph strategy, that's pretty easy to get him up to that. We have an Inexorable Tide that proliferates whenever you cast a spell. Steady Progress that proliferates. And again, these graph cards. So there is hope for draft. Again, it's going to be very hard to rely on your first pack. Say, hey, I want to go into Proliferate. Hey, I want to go into Soul Shift. So I am worried about that. We'll have to, as time goes on, we'll see if that's actually a thing, but I would still prefer if they would have made Modern Masters 2 the way they made Modern Masters 1, and taken a look at the modern format, and then made it so that you could draft like not as powerful versions. So I would have loved to see Boggles or Fish or black-white tokens, or I mean, even tier 2 strategies, but Splinter Twin. They put Kiki Jiki in here and Splinter Twin, but no Deceiver Exarch or Pestermite in this one. Then, I mean, they could even put like Wall of Omens in here with Kiki Jiki or Splinter Twin just for some value-based deck. There could have been a lot of things in Modern Masters 2 that could have been representative of the format. And that's, I guess, my biggest bitch about Modern Masters 2 is it didn't do that in the limited environment. It didn't say, hey, here's all these modern decks that are actually being played, and these represent them even though they're not. And what happened with Modern Masters 1 is people started to get like they drafted an affinity deck, or had a sealed pool of like an Arcbound Ravager and a bunch of it, and they're like, hey, I already have 1/10 of the deck, I'm gonna get the other pieces. I don't see that happening as much in Modern Masters 2. So the first pool that we did, I think, was a hit. I think that it had enough of a theme. This one's okay, it's kind of cool, but it's just all over the place. It's more good stuff deck than really putting a theme together. And actually it's not really good stuff. It's like there's too much garbage in here that just fillers that we had to put in. But it's a solid deck. I wouldn't be too unhappy if this ended up being the deck I had to play. I am a little bit worried about the amount of creatures, but we did get some great creatures. Any
other thoughts were, if you are playing someone who is possibly trying to run those artifacts, you do have some extra damage for your sideboard. And then as well as if you're playing somebody who's trying to stall the board out a little bit, build up, to one large creature. We could possibly put in some of the brute force, try to build a creature. Would be the only other options that I could even think of at that point.
Yeah, there was a mutagenic growth and a gut shot in here as well, and a narcolepsy. So this deck could go really tempoed, but yeah, just a lot of other weak cards. A lot of fillers in here.
But if I was playing Kevin, I probably would go to try to build a creature and hopefully get Daybreak Coronet, and also the Goblin Warpaint.
What,
that would only be...
You'd put in white just for...
I get rid of everything else.
Yeah, there's no way you play Daybreak Coronet. This is a trap. This is a trap.
Exactly.
We got two Goblin Warpaints in Daybreak Coronet. As much as you want to play it, it's statistically you're not going to see a Goblin Warpaint and Daybreak Coronet in the same game. And especially if you try to get a Goblin Warpaint out really, really quickly. Like, they put the hate cards for non-hexproof Boggles in the format. I really think they should have supported Daybreak Coronet or similar cards like this. Isn't there like an Aria? There's a bunch of Aria guys out of the Zendikar block that get additional bonuses, don't necessarily have hexproof for having R's. They could have done all of the Umbras in this set as well to try to make Daybreak playable, and then people could actually hate out against it with Vapor Snacks. And that's, to me, makes a healthy format, is when you create overpowered strategies, but then have ways to actually just trounce them. So, oh, this is cool. Again, we're relying so much on the first deck. We had some awesome rares, and that basically pieced together the deck. This is no different. We got the Clique and the Swans, and then enough cards to really make it, I guess, viable. But all in all, this is a miss. I'm definitely going to say this sealed pool was an absolute miss. Again, nothing special out of green that's even worth mentioning in this. We have like some rampant growths and whatnot, and then black just had that one rare that was good, but other than that, it's just meh. But we'll build some more pools, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to face our decks against each other. And again, I apologize for the poor lighting quality. We're trying to wing this with opening a Modern Masters box, but we'll play a game to see how it runs. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.